Lifespan nutrition is what we're going to focus on for this video and the next couple of videos. What we're looking at is what are the different phases throughout life and how do the nutritional needs change from phase to phase. This particular video will focus on pregnancy, the very start of life. What's needed, what vitamins and minerals you're looking for, and how does everything change throughout the pregnancy. So what really is lifespan nutrition? Well, pretty much what we're looking at is how the body's constantly changing from birth and even before birth, right through someone's death. There are many different phases that an individual goes through, and each one of those phases has a little different nutritional need. It has different caloric needs, different vitamin needs, different mineral needs. So you kind of have to look at those and see what's needed at different points and what are the different phases. The main goal, make sure your nutritional requirements are being met in each one of these phases, and therefore your diet is complementing what you're trying to accomplish. But let's start focusing right in pregnancy for this video. In the case of pregnancy, that developing fetus or baby is completely dependent on the mother. The placenta is going to provide all nutrients, minerals, and vitamins, as well as oxygen to that developing fetus. So if someone's thinking about getting pregnant, the ideal thing would be to start your nutritional modification right away. Because that way, the minute you are pregnant, you're already in that state where, hey, this is where I want to be while I'm pregnant. Making sure that I'm providing all the nutrients that my growing baby will need. Now, I know that's not always possible, but someone should at least then try to figure out, well, once you're pregnant, what do? Look at the nutrition. Make sure you're getting the adequate amounts for that growing fetus. Most individuals are going to have a weight gain throughout pregnancy. Now, that's perfectly normal, perfectly fine. A lot of times that weight gain will be in the 25 to 35 pound range. Now, sure, some individuals gain more, some can gain a little less. But that range is pretty much a norm that is meant to be healthy for the mother, as well as healthy for that growing baby. Because at this point now, the mother's still eating her normal intake, but she also has to be eating enough nutrients to meet the needs of that growing fetus, that growing baby. So if, for example, the mother doesn't gain enough weight, so below that 25 pound mark, then there's potential problems that could occur. It's not guaranteed, because again, a lot of factors play a part here. But if there was an under amount of weight, so not enough weight being gained, could end up being preterm delivery. Could be a low birth weight for that baby. Could even be more extreme in cases of infant mortality because it just doesn't have the nutrients, or even intellectual disabilities, unfortunately. Because every single body system is growing at this point. You gotta make sure that all those body systems have enough nutrients. But now on the flip side, too much weight gain can cause other problems. In the case of the mother, could cause an increase in blood pressure. And that blood pressure could get high enough to cause gestational diabetes. And in those cases, usually a doctor or someone needs to kind of watch and help out and figure out how to manage at that point. So mention that there's many factors that play a part in this weight gain. So the average was 25 to 35 pounds, but it can vary by person. If someone started off with a low BMI or body mass index, they would actually need to gain more weight than someone that had a normal or average BMI. So in that case, it might be even above the 35 pounds was necessary. But if someone before the pregnancy had a high BMI or body mass index, in that case, that individual might need to gain less weight throughout the pregnancy. Reason being is they already had some of the stored reserves already built into their system. So again, there's many factors that play a part in what weight gain should be appropriate. And that was all based on one growing baby. If there's twins or triplets or more, all these weight numbers go out the door. So all this is based on one developing fetus and just one baby's birth. Any more than that, the numbers are all different. But as you start to gain weight, the weight gain changes based on trimester. The first trimester, a lot of times there isn't a whole lot of weight gain. Maybe 2 to 5 pounds is what they're saying the average is. But again, depends on what the mother's weight was and body mass index was beforehand. Second and third trimester, you're looking at give or take about a pound a week as far as weight gain goes. In this case, there's a lot of developmental changes, and that growing fetus is getting quite big and is growing very quickly. Now, does everyone always gain exactly a pound a week? No. But it's one of those things, it depends on each person, and that's just an estimate across the whole entire population. But where does all this weight go? Well, of course, some of it goes to the developing fetus. On average, you're looking at about 6 to 10 pounds for that developing fetus is what's going right there. Which also means once birth occurs, that weight is coming off immediately. The mother will gain about 8 to 10 pounds of stored fat and protein. Now, these protein and fat stores will be used during the pregnancy to help compensate for any slight lacks of nutrition, but also after the pregnancy can be used potentially as well. We'll get to that in a second. 3 to 4 pounds is gained for maternal blood. Pretty much the mother is going to increase her blood supply by about 50% or so. There's another 3 to 4 pounds also gained for maternal fluids. Looking at about 2 to 3 pounds is gained for the amniotic fluid. That's the fluid around the baby. And then about 1 to 2 pounds is gained for the placenta itself. That's what's nourishing the baby. About 1 or 2 pounds is gained in the breasts. About 1 or 2 pounds is gained in the uterus as well. Now, the rate of this weight gain may need some counseling if it's not matching up what the doctor's looking for. If the weight gain is too low, and the doctor's monitoring this and they're getting these checkups and saying, you know what, you're just not picking up enough weight, there might be recommended nutritional counseling to look at how you can increase the caloric intake while still maintaining a healthy diet and getting the proper nutrients. But on the flip side, if the weight gain is too quick, that might be more of a concern for the doctor because it could be things like edema or the retaining of fluid and water. The reason that could be concerning, well, one reason at least, is blood pressure. Increasing in fluid retention can increase blood pressure, potentially causing other complications. And there are other things, unfortunately, that can happen as well. But that's why if the weight gains are off, either low or high, it's something the doctor might need to take a concerning look at and see how to help the mother get back right on track. But beyond the weight gain, we're looking at a proper nutritional balance, remember. The vitamins and minerals, the requirements change a little bit during pregnancy. That's why a lot of times mothers that are pregnant are looking to have prenatal vitamins, just to make sure they keep the vitamin levels up in appropriate levels. Because quite a few of the B vitamins need to be increased during pregnancy. Vitamin C needs to be increased. Zinc needs to be increased. And there's a whole list of all these vitamins that need to have elevated levels during pregnancy to support the mother, but also support that growing fetus. And besides these vitamins and minerals, you're looking at water. Water intake usually increases during pregnancy. You need more water because you have a higher amount of blood. Blood's based on water. So more water coming in to not only help the growing baby, but also to maintain the mother's systems. Now, the amount of water, that's going to vary depending on the actual physical size and a lot of other things. But someone that's 5 foot versus 6 foot will have different amounts of water they need. They simply physically have different body sizes. But on average, they're saying about 10 cups or 2.5 liters of water a day is probably what someone should be getting, if not more. But these are recommendations. In reality, the diet can vary tremendously throughout pregnancy. Diet can be impacted by cravings and aversions to different foods during pregnancy. Now, these aversions might not have been there before pregnancy. So they might be all of a sudden, hey, I love this food, and now you're not liking that same food. These can cause modifications in what someone's willing to eat, therefore causing modifications in the diet and how to balance all the nutrients. Now, there is some information out there saying that cravings might be the body's way of letting you know what nutrients you're missing. But it's not conclusive. There's studies that claim both sides of things here. So cravings, gotta watch out what they're for. If they're for things that are more calorically empty and not nutritionally beneficial, might need to kind of try to modify and watch. Is this something that can have occasionally? Or is it a daily basis that might not be helping your nutritional intake? But obviously, it comes down to person by person. What works for them? How do they move from day to day through pregnancy? Because a pregnancy isn't always easy, trying to find the right nutritional take, as well as balancing everything else that's changing the body. All the hormonal changes, the physical body changes. It all takes a lot of work from everyone involved. But there are some things that pregnant mothers should stay away from. Alcohol and tobacco are two of the big ones. Now, in the case of alcohol, too much alcohol during pregnancy can have negative impacts on the developing fetus. What can end up happening is something called fetal alcohol syndrome, or FAS. In this case, excessive amounts of alcohol can cause physical and mental disabilities in that growing fetus. So therefore, upon birth, you might have these physicalities that now are results of the excessive alcohol intake. Smoking. Well, smoking can have different problems. Smoking can cause low birth weights, could cause premature birth, and in excessive amounts might even cause that newborn baby to have a slight addiction to nicotine, which then obviously it can't smoke, so therefore has to go through withdrawal at that point. So just the best way is to stay away and not have alcohol or tobacco during pregnancy. But there's a few other things to also watch out for. Trying to stay away from undercooked foods, especially meats. Think rare beef or sushi. The idea is there are potentially harmful bacteria that can be found in undercooked food. And now, if someone wasn't pregnant, those could cause them to be sick, but usually it's not too bad. But that same bacteria now, for someone that's pregnant, can make things a whole lot worse, and especially for that developing fetus. So try to stay away from undercooked meats especially, or undercooked foods in general. But also trying to avoid certain heavy metals. Now these are typically foods that come from the ocean. Think swordfish, salmon, shark. These large predatory fish that live a long time and can have what's called bioaccumulation. So they can build up unhealthy levels of methyl mercury. Now, this methyl mercury can be harmful to the mother as well as the growing baby. But because of how everything's developing for that fetus, that's where the especially harmful changes could occur. So just better to stay away from those things that could have these bioaccumulation of methyl mercury. Another one, tuna. If you're going to eat tuna, it's better to have light tuna compared to albacore tuna. Reason being, albacore tuna usually has a little higher levels of mercury built up. So just some things to kind of think about if you're thinking about considering those foods at that time. Now, all these were during pregnancy, but what about just after pregnancy, right after delivery? So once delivery of that baby occurs, weight will decrease. The baby and the placenta are gone. So that weight automatically comes off. Shortly thereafter, your blood volume will also decrease because the blood volume increased by about 50% throughout pregnancy. After pregnancy is over, that blood volume goes back down. Physical activity can also help. Now, physical activity during pregnancy helps to regulate things, but also after pregnancy. Now, obviously, after pregnancy, it's doctor discretion. Don't want to push things too fast there. But even simple walking can help to help get the body back to its pre-pregnancy weights. Now, the idea of breastfeeding as a weight reduction. There are studies on both sides of this one saying that breastfeeding can help with weight loss after birth. There's other studies saying breastfeeding doesn't help. So there's no real clear answer on this one. Talk to your doctor on that one and see what their thoughts are. But it may help, can't hurt. Now, obviously, breastfeeding is a very personal choice. Some women choose to, some women choose not to. Some women, unfortunately, are unable to. So it comes down to that personal choice and what's going on in that case. But regardless, trying to lose that weight is something that is going to be a challenge based on your body's new hormonal balances, how everything's changed from the pregnancy. Any excessive weight that was gained during pregnancy at this point will start to be converted into fat reserves and fat stores, things that could be potentially used for the future in case nutrient amounts are not met on a daily basis. Because having a newborn can get things quite crazy quite quickly. So, pregnancy and lifespan nutrition. Looking at what's needed during pregnancy, and then just a quick little snippet of what happens just after. Next video we'll be looking into the newborn infants and that whole stage of development. So, until the next video.